This week I thought I would talk about the one I call rock lobster. Now before I go on, I know there are people who have pointed out to me this is not a rock lobster. Apparently that's a very specific type of lobster. I'm from Ohio. We don't have lobsters here. I do know they taste delicious. And this is usually what we get, which would be a Maine lobster. A rock lobster apparently looks very different. But the reason I call it that is if you're a little bit older, you might remember the B-52s, and they had a song called Rock Lobster, and that was kind of going through my head as I was doing this. So on this particular one, the only thing that kind of relates to that is that I have the word rock. Here's our lobster. And then I have B-52s up in the corner. So that's kind of relating to that song. Other than that, there's just fun things to look at in this one. The background, there's just a whole bunch of random things. We have a necklace, some like white antlers that I found. There's different types of clothing throughout there, pearls. There's a little white go-go boot, to the 60s, because I was born in the 60s. We have like a little gem, more clothing, just a lot of fun things to look for. The lobster itself, red is a little bit of a tough color when it comes to magazines, because either you could go very pink, or it kind of gets more muddier, like almost black, if you try to go dark. So there's not a whole lot of range in the yellow. I mean, well, in yellow too, but in this case for the red. So what I found was we have some cranberries, we have some glasses, there's just different patterns that I found within the red. One with some kind of tool, and I thought that looked good because it had the little the little ridges that a lobster would have on there. Some lace. And then I threw in, to give just a little bit different coloring, some blue and purple in the joints of the lobster. Now for the eyes, he looks a little goofy. And those are the bottom of wine stems, an image of wine stems that I found, and kind of gives them that look. And I pointed that out to somebody, and they suggested, they didn't suggest, they said they know lobsters very well, and they say that's how they look. So, hey, I lucked out on that. I think my favorite part of this, though, are the shadows, which help him look more like 3D-ish, get him away from the background. And that was a little tricky because, like I said, the red, if you go too dark, it kind of gets black, and that kind of blended in with some of the background. So I had to be kind of careful how I put all the little gray parts in there. And those all have little images in it, so you really have to kind of look at this closely and study. There's like a little shoe in there, a bunch of little things. Now, to help me figure out how to do these legs here and get the shadows right, what I did is that I put a light near me, and then on my table, I would put like an object like my finger and try to put it, this is my iPad, and try to put it in a way so I could see where the shadows would go, like if it was bent like that. And I had to keep in mind like where my light source was and where the shadows would fall with that. So some of them kind of overlap underneath it. It was fun to play around with it, try to really make it look like it's a shadow and that there's some depth from the lobster to the background. So this one is an original. You could tell I have it framed, and there's some texture to it, which is probably hard to see on the video there. There's some shine from the finish on there. But I also have prints of it too. So if you're interested in that, go to my website and check it out. So thank you, and I'll see you next week.